Part 29. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 281. In the food court, as Yang Lin resolved Boss Joe's crisis with a few words, it was no longer possible to continue eating this dinner. After all, after Yang Lin's identity was exposed, a large number of people immediately gathered around, just to see Yang Lin in person. In order not to cause unnecessary trouble, Lu Ming and others immediately took Yang Lin out of a small alley in the food street. As soon as he came out of the alley, Lu Ming showed a frightened expression. Teacher Yang is indeed one of the top students today. As soon as everyone knew you were here, they all gathered around you. Isn't that right? There are several celebrities in the entire Dragon Kingdom who are as popular as Teacher Yang. Teacher Yang is really powerful. Just a few words turned a dangerous place into a golden place. If I weren't wearing this outfit, I would have wanted to learn a few tricks from Teacher Yang. Facing the adulation from everyone, Yang Lin showed no expression at all on his face. I glanced at the time on my phone and prepared to say goodbye to everyone. But at this moment, his brows suddenly frowned. Lu Ming and others immediately stopped when they saw his expression. Just when they were about to ask Yang Lin if he had discovered anything else, Yang Lin suddenly raised his hand to signal them not to speak. The next second he picked up his fingers and started counting. From time to time he looked up at the sky. Facing the people who didn't know what was going on, he suddenly let out a long sigh and said, "The earth thunders and the sun appears. This is a sign that the earth dragon will turn over." Hearing his words, Lu Ming and others were stunned for a moment, and then asked, "Teacher Yang, what is earth dragon turning over?" Before Yang Lin could answer, a staff member from the program team rushed to answer. "The earth dragon turning over refers to an earthquake, right, Teacher Yang?" "That's right," Yang Lin nodded. "I suddenly felt something. Within 2 days, there will be an earthquake in the northeast of Long Kingdom." As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Lu Ming and others changed instantly. "No way, earthquakes don't just happen. Besides, even if there is an earthquake, the earthquake administration should be aware of it in advance. Yes, earthquakes are no small matter." Although everyone was surprised and suspicious, when they thought about Yang Lin's ability, they actually believed most of it. But they still wanted to hear Yang Lin's explanation. There is no mistake. Pandeo can sense the changes in the Dragon Kingdom's earth veins. Just now, the northern dragon veins of the Dragon Kingdom shifted 3 inches to the south, and these 3 inches are enough to induce a medium-sized earthquake. And if nothing else happens, Jinghai will also feel it later. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, there were bursts of exclamations on the street not far away. Following the exclamation, everyone saw a group of red light emerging from the horizon. The red light moved from far to near, and soon covered most of the sky. Looking from a distance, the entire sky seems to be covered with a layer of red gauze. Such a strange sight instantly attracted everyone's attention. When had they ever seen such a weird celestial phenomenon? Many of them have already taken out their mobile phones to take pictures. Judging from the expressions on their faces, they just find it novel. Only Yang Lin's expression became more serious. Lu Ming and others who noticed Yang Lin's expression couldn't help but feel a little bit in their hearts. After a while, they asked slightly uncertainly, "Teacher Yang, is this red light related to the earthquake?" After hearing this question, everyone turned their knowledge-seeking eyes to Yang Lin. Yang Lin quickly nodded. There is indeed a certain relationship. From a scientific point of view, this is caused by the movement of plates causing the leakage of special gases inside the Earth's crust and the refraction of light. And from the perspective of Earth vein science, it is the violent aura exuded when the Earth dragon turns over. According to Pandeo's speculation, such a scene should be seen in many places in the Dragon Kingdom at this time. As soon as Yang Lin finished his explanation, several dog barks came from the street. Under the gaze of everyone, a group of stray dogs suddenly jumped out of the food street. Then the team of stray dogs became larger and larger. Soon dogs barking could be heard all over the street. Such a strange situation once again convinced everyone of what Yang Lin said. Everyone panicked instantly. "Teacher Yang, what should we do now? Do we want to report it?" "Yes, if an earthquake really comes, it will be terrible." "Will there be an earthquake here too?" Faced with everyone's concerns, Yang Lin said calmly. "Don't worry. At most, you will only feel a slight earthquake in Jinghai. There will be no strong earthquake, let alone a threat to life and property. As for the earthquake magnitude in the northeast, it won't be too high. The earthquake administration should be able to detect it in advance, so we don't have to worry." Everyone who was still full of panic immediately calmed down after hearing Yang Lin's comfort. Just at this time, a piercing alarm suddenly came from the TV set outside the shop nearby. Then came the sound of earthquake warnings. After a countdown, everyone suddenly felt a shaking on the ground. But fortunately, the shock was just like what Yang Lin said, it came and went as quickly as it came. During the whole process, nothing else happened except for slight earthquakes. When everyone reacted, everything became calm again. On the contrary, the pedestrians on the street looked puzzled. "What happened just now? Why did I feel like I was shaken? Really? Why didn't I feel it? It seemed like there was a shock, but it disappeared quickly. It couldn't be an earthquake. How can it be? Forget it. Never mind." Apparently no one took this sudden earthquake seriously. Only Lu Ming and others looked at Yang Lin solemnly. At this moment, they were completely convinced of Yang Lin. But at this moment, Yang Lin's already relaxed brows wrinkled again. Everyone who had just relaxed couldn't help but feel their hearts in their throats again. They were afraid that something else would pop up from Yang Lin's mouth. And just when everyone was waiting for Yang Lin to speak again, Yang Lin's heart was already in turmoil. Because just now Tiandao gave him some feedback. These pieces of news are conclusions deduced based on the internet big data collected. Every conclusion is enough to affect the fate of countless people. These conclusions are that minor earthquakes will occur in some cities in the northern part of the Dragon Kingdom in 2 days. Severe flooding will occur in several northern cities in 3 days. In 5 days, several coastal cities in the south will be hit by the second round of typhoons. In 8 days, most cities in the southern part of Dragon Kingdom will experience abnormally high temperatures. 15 days later, severe drought occurred in several southern provinces of the Dragon Kingdom. Faced with these disaster warnings deduced from heaven, Yang Lin also had warning signs in his heart. If it was just a single natural disaster, it might just be a coincidence. But if they appear one after another, it must be a foreshadowing. Thinking of the major earthquake predicted by Tiandao before, he suddenly realized that there might have been a problem in this world. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 282. When he thought that so many major events would happen in just a few dozen days, Yang Lin became more convinced of his guess. Although this world has no aura and no theory of cultivation, it is essentially not much different from the world of cultivation in his previous life. As the saying goes, things must be reversed when they reach their extremes, which will inevitably bring about destruction in the process of development. Under extreme prosperity, there are also huge disasters lurking. Nowadays, there are so many abnormalities. In a sense, it can be understood that the consciousness of this planet is repairing its own trauma. While Yang Lin was thinking about this, Lu Ming's voice also sounded from the side. "Teacher Yang, is there something else going on?" Hearing this question, Yang Lin immediately returned to reality. After thinking about it, he finally did not choose to tell Lu Ming and others all the information predicted by Tiandao. On the one hand, it's because it's useless to tell them, and they are just low-level people. On the other hand, it is also considered that most of these natural disasters are irreversible. Once they really happen, even the whole country cannot change them. The only thing that can be done is to minimize the damage to people after a disaster occurs. But not telling them this doesn't mean he doesn't do anything. It's nothing, I just suddenly thought of something. It's getting late. You all should go back. It's time for Pandeo to go back to the hotel. After saying that, Yang Lin walked towards the hotel alone amidst everyone's doubtful eyes. After a while, it disappeared into the night. Everyone didn't think much about it, and soon everyone went back to their homes. When the time came at night, just as Yang Lin said, netizens on the internet successively posted videos of themselves capturing the red light. These netizens include those from the coast, some from the inland, some from the north, and some from the south. Dozens of cities are involved. Everyone is guessing what is causing these red lights. There are also some authoritative organizations trying to explain, but in the end the explanations they gave are not convincing. It was not until some areas issued earthquake warnings that netizens associated the red light with earthquakes. Suddenly everyone on the internet is in danger. No one knows when an earthquake will come, whether it will be an ordinary earthquake or a major earthquake. Until the next day, such discussions were still ongoing. But even so, the filming of the program crew continued as usual. Yang Lin is still working at the Zhangjiawan police station as he did a few days ago. But not long after he started working, Lu Ming led a group of people into the police station. Looking at this group of people, Yang Lin seemed to have expected it, and there was no trace of surprise or doubt on his face. On the contrary, Lu Ming showed a trace of embarrassment on his face after seeing Yang Lin. "Teacher Yang, I'm really sorry. After I went back yesterday, I tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Then I told my brother-in-law what you said yesterday. He just started working at our earthquake bureau, so he reported to the leader immediately. I didn't expect that they would have such a big battle this early in the morning." After saying that, he quickly introduced the people following him. "Teacher Yang, this is Director Xiang of our Jinghai Earthquake Monitoring Center. This is Director Qin of the State Seismological Bureau. This is Director Ma from the Natural Disaster Prevention and Control Center. You should know him." Following Lu Ming's introduction, the people behind him also came to Yang Lin to say hello to him. Director Ma, in particular, looked at Yang Lin eagerly. "Daozang Yang, I didn't expect to meet you so soon. I'm here to trouble you again this time. Indeed, as your instruments have detected, earthquakes will occur in most parts of the northern part of Dragon Kingdom in the coming period. That's right, you took care of the previous floods and typhoons, and this earthquake must be real too. Yeah, what should we do about this? Can you use your magical powers to get rid of the earthquake?" "Taoist Master Yang, actually we have met before. The last time you held that prayer meeting to pray for blessings and eliminate disasters, I was also there. But we're not sure whether these fluctuations mean that earthquakes will definitely occur, because there are so many places where these fluctuations exist. There is a cycle of about 10 days, and we will finally reach the peak after 50 days. Faced with such trust from everyone, Yang Lin couldn't do it. Looking at the expectant people, Yang Lin wondered if he had heard wrongly. After hearing the words of several people, Yang Lin nodded slightly, and then said. There had never been a time when he had not been questioned first, and then vindicated himself with practical actions. It seems that we still underestimate the power of technology. What you said, Taoist Master Yang, shouldn't be false, right? As soon as he said this, these people all believed him without even asking if it was true or false. This time I heard Xiao Lu say that you had predicted the earthquake in advance yesterday, so we came here specifically to ask for your advice. After hearing what Director Qin said, Yang Lin's expression immediately changed slightly. Daozang Yang, can you tell me what is going on? These earthquakes won't be too high in magnitude, but they will last for quite some time and they will happen repeatedly. Nothing like today, when he opened his mouth, all the people believed him. As soon as Yang Lin finished these two sentences, several people from the Earthquake Bureau looked at him in confusion. After sighing in his heart, Yang Lin immediately did not hide it. As soon as he finished saying this, Director Qin from the National Seismological Bureau also quickly added, "Has my prestige reached this level?" That's right. In fact, our National Seismological Administration has recently detected abnormal fluctuations in many places in Longguo through data analysis and related instruments. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the leaders of the Earthquake Bureau immediately changed. Since these people now unconditionally choose to believe him, he doesn't need to be sneaky. He originally thought that only Tiandao could judge that there would be many earthquakes in the Dragon Kingdom in the future based on some clues. With a hint of suspicion, Yang Lin once again looked at the people from the Earthquake Bureau who looked sincere. Yes, yes, just like last time, let's send all the earthquakes to the little day next door. They have earthquakes every day anyway, so they don't care how many more times they have. Originally, he thought he would handle the matter secretly. Unexpectedly, the Earthquake Administration had already felt this. My skills are not worth mentioning. I wonder what you want to ask this time. Aren't you afraid that everything Pandeo said is false, or not that accurate? Yang Lin thought he would question this, but what they said next made Yang Lin stunned for a moment. 100 of us believe in you. Aren't you even suspicious? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 283. Just when Yang Lin and everyone at the Seismological Bureau were discussing how to deal with the upcoming earthquakes, Haizhou City, hundreds of kilometers away, was also experiencing the highest temperature this year. Citizens of Haizhou City received a high-temperature red warning from the meteorological center early in the morning. According to weather warnings, the temperature in Haizhou City will reach an unprecedented 42 degrees today. Once this warning was issued, millions of citizens in Haizhou City instantly went into an uproar. Many citizens even posted the news and the video of the outdoor temperature measurement online. Some people even performed frying eggs on the concrete floor and frying pancakes on the hood of a car. In less than an hour, the news that Haizhou City had experienced the highest temperature in history caused an uproar on the Dragon Kingdom internet. Countless netizens left messages to ridicule and express their sympathy. Really or not, isn't the highest temperature only 40 degrees? How come the temperature in Haizhou City can rise to 42 degrees? That said, I haven't heard of a few times in many years where the temperature has risen above 40 degrees. Isn't Haizhou City a coastal city? How could there be such a high temperature? Is there any local friends in Haizhou City who can confirm it? I just saw several videos posted by locals in Haizhou City. This time they are really not joking. This Haizhou native testifies that everything we released today is true. The temperature in our Haizhou has been rising for several days in a row. If it continues to rise like this, the streets will be full of familiar people. It's really killing me. We were on the beach. It rained heavily 2 days ago, and the air humidity was high. Coupled with the high temperature, it felt like living in a steamer every moment. The asphalt roads have heated up. I have lived in Haizhou for nearly 40 years. This is the first time I have encountered such a high temperature. This year is really the most abnormal year. All kinds of natural disasters are taking turns. It seems like the end of the world is really coming. Destroy it? With this damn weather, whoever wants to be treated will be treated badly. The high temperature and power outage make it impossible to survive. We really can't let God bring back another typhoon. It's really too hot. Suddenly, the internet was filled with the voices of Haizhou people complaining. Netizens are now gradually realizing the abnormal weather. However, in such a scorching heat, a large group of people arrived at Pingshan Mountain on the coast of Hizhou City. Among these people were government workers wearing white shirts and construction workers wearing hard hats. There are also a large number of construction machinery. As soon as these people appeared, they immediately attracted the attention of the citizens who were cooling off in Pingshan Park to escape the heat. When they looked at the front of the team, they immediately recognized the identity of the leader. Isn't that Mayor's son? Why is he here today? Really, on such a hot day, he and his engineering team are preparing to construct here. Looking at them, they seem to be heading for Zhenhai Pavilion on the top of the mountain. They are not planning to demolish Zhenhai Pavilion. If we have the time, we might as well think about repairing the electrical facilities first. Don't talk so much now, just follow up and take a look first. The onlookers followed the construction team while they were talking. At the same time, Sun Daming, who was walking at the front of the team, took out two hand-drawn designs. After taking a look at the design drawing, he turned his gaze to a middle-aged man wearing a safety helmet with concern. Manager Zhang, you are the most experienced construction team in Hizhou City. There should be no problem in moving Zhenhai Pavilion this time, right? Upon hearing Sun Daming's words, the middle-aged man immediately patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, Mayor's son, we have completed the relocation of ancient buildings many times. Don't just move a few meters, even moving hundreds of meters is not a problem." With your words, I feel relieved. This matter concerns our entire Hizhou City, and there is no room for carelessness. Distance is not a problem, the key is that there can be no deviation. Having said this, Sun Daming gave instructions to the middle-aged man again. It was not until they confirmed that there would be no deviation at all that the construction team came forward. In a short time, the construction team surrounded the entire Zhenhai Pavilion. When the onlookers saw this scene, they immediately realized that they were going to start construction on Zhenhai Pavilion. We really want to demolish Zhenhai Pavilion. How could Mayor's son do such a ridiculous thing? This Zhenhai Pavilion is an old building with hundreds of years of history. It is the business card of our Hizhou City. But I read on the internet that Zhenhai Pavilion blocks the wind and waves from the sea, so the temperature in Hizhou City rises sharply. Yes, I see many people on the internet are proposing to demolish Zhenhai Pavilion. How can you people, all of you young, believe in such superstitious things? That is to say, the temperature rise is mostly due to the influence of La Nina, coupled with the heat island effect. It has something to do with Zhenhai Pavilion. Why did Mayor's son choose this time to start construction on Zhenhai Pavilion? Did he get advice from someone? Just when everyone expressed their confusion, the construction team had already started. I saw that they first hollowed out the entire foundation of Zhenhai Pavilion, then cut off the building foundation and put in underpinning beams. Finally, the track was erected and the foundation was rebuilt a few meters away from Zhenhai Pavilion. The whole process was as smooth as flowing water. Obviously, this engineering team has done a lot of projects like this. In just 3 hours, Zhenhai Pavilion left its original location and moved smoothly to a place several meters away from its original location. From a distance, there doesn't seem to be any difference. But if you look closely, you can see that the relocated Zhenhai Pavilion seems to be more harmonious with the surrounding mountains and waters. Seeing that the relocation of Zhenhai Pavilion was successfully completed, Sun Daming, who was already sweating profusely, breathed a long sigh of relief. But he knew it didn't end there. The next second he said to a staff member next to him, "Go and have those 7-star jars moved to the location designated by Taoist Master Yang." "Okay, Mayor Sunday." Not long after he issued the order, a crane lowered 7 large tanks one after another from a truck. The overall style of these 7-star cylinders is exactly the same as what Yang Lin designed for him before. Even the carvings and patterns on the bottom of the cylinder are exactly the same. After these 7-star cylinders were transported, they were quickly transported by forklifts and workers to the new location of Jinhai Pavilion. After placing them one by one according to the positions marked by Yang Lin, strange things happened immediately. First, the whole Pingshan shook inexplicably, and then a red glow suddenly appeared in the sky. Then a star flashed in the northern sky. Although these visions lasted only a few seconds, they were truly seen by millions of Haizu people. Just when they were wondering why this happened, a large number of dark clouds suddenly gathered in the originally cloudless sky. Before they could react, gusts of cool wind suddenly blew over from the sea. As the cool breeze suddenly rises, the heat quickly subsides. Feeling this change, everyone's faces couldn't help but show joy. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 284. 1 second it was so hot that it made people irritated, and the next second it was completely gone. The whole change process didn't even take a minute. When the people of Haizu City discovered this change, they immediately walked out of the air-conditioned rooms to the streets. Feeling the cool breeze, their faces were full of surprise and joy. "Hey, be a good boy, what's going on? Why do you say it's cooling down? I felt like I was going to die from the heat just now. Now it may have dropped by more than 10 degrees. Who installed central air conditioning in the sky over the city? Or is it that the temperature is 40-10? The weather forecast is not good either. Doesn't it say that the temperature will continue to rise? It's a good thing it came down, otherwise I would have felt like I was going to die from the heat. Has God opened his eyes?" While the citizens of Haizu City were amazed, the expressions of the onlookers who witnessed a series of operations of the construction team in Pingshan Park also changed drastically. They witnessed the entire process of the construction team moving Jinhai Pavilion and installing the 7-star tank. He also witnessed strange phenomena in the sky. And the occurrence of these things is the matter of the front and rear feet. If you tell them right now that there is no necessary relationship between these things, they won't believe it even if you beat them to death. Many people can vaguely guess why Sun Daming suddenly came here on this hot day to lead the construction team to move Jinhai Pavilion. After looking at each other, the group of people started talking quietly. I asked, "Is there a possibility that because Mayor Sun just moved Jinhai Pavilion to a new location, the temperature in our Haizu has dropped?" "It's not that it's possible, it's just that, otherwise it would all be too much of a coincidence." Indeed, after Mayor Sun finished doing that, the temperature in Haizu City dropped down. It's simply amazing. I just said that Mayor Sun can't do this with nothing to do in temperatures over 40 degrees Celsius. Sure enough, some things are not entirely feudal superstition. What is the principle behind this? Just moving Jinhai Pavilion a few meters away and putting in a few water tanks can resolve the high temperature in Haizu City. In this case, there should be a problem with the feng shui of Haizu City, which caused the previous series of problems. And this Jinhai Tower is the key to resolving these problems. So someone must have given guidance to Mayor Sun, so he brought the construction team here. After analysis by one person in the crowd, most people soon agreed with this conclusion. What's more, some of them directly guessed that this matter was related to Yang Lin. And after someone approached the construction team for verification, this conjecture was proved. The construction team members personally admitted that they moved and renovated Jinhai Pavilion according to the drawings drawn by a Taoist priest named Yang. As soon as these words came out, everyone present became more and more excited. They could already imagine the scene when Sun Daming personally approached Yang Lin and asked him for a solution. I'm just saying that Mayor Sun must have someone helping him. It turns out that it was Taoist Yang from the next door Jinghai City who gave me personal guidance. No wonder. If it was really Taoist Master Yang who gave the instruction, it would further indicate that the weather change just now has something to do with Jinhai Pavilion. As expected of a master, With just a few words he lowered the temperature of our entire Haizu city. If I had known this, I would have gone to Yanglin a long time ago. Good guy, let me tell you why the temperature in Haizu dropped so fast. It turns out they hired foreign aid. From the water conservancy sector to the power sector. And these, without exception, come from official departments of all levels in the Dragon Kingdom. Without any explanation, these departments began to pay attention. That is to say, we only ask about the results. As for the process, who cares? Just for this reason, I have to give Yanglin a thumbs up. What's the taboo? It doesn't matter whether it's a black cat or a white cat. Any cat that can catch mice is a good cat. Sure enough, if there is no way to solve things from a scientific perspective, we can solve them from another perspective. No more, we haven't had rain here for half a month now. The cannon tubes of the Meteorological Bureau have been smashed and the rain has not fallen. I will go to their official website to give my opinion and ask them to invite Yanglin to come over. Trip. Don't worry, we've had heavy rains here for several days. See if you can ask Yanglin to carry the heavy rains from us to your side. It is recommended that you contact Yanglin as soon as possible, otherwise he may not have any schedule after this wave of popularity rises. If it were before, they might really have to consider the impact of inviting Yanglin. With the heated discussion among netizens, relevant departments in various places soon became unable to sit still. One day passed, and the total number of Yanglin's fans increased by tens of thousands. You haven't had rain for just half a month, and we haven't had rain for more than half a month. Let's go first. Yanglin, good guys, you really think of me as a god. From transportation to forestry, from courts to municipal administration. Immediately, these departments began to look for Yanglin's contact information. At the same time, I also knew that all of this was done by Yanglin. As netizens say, it doesn't matter whether it's a black cat or a white cat, as long as it can catch mice, it's a good cat. Indeed, I didn't believe this before. Ever since I went to Filong Temple to burn a stick of incense and made a small fortune, I completely believe it. Yes, we have been flooded here for several days. Let Yanglin get it over for you. By the way, even the officialdom is no longer shy about this kind of thing. In the past, it was still secretive to ask Taoist monks to do it. But after experiencing a series of events in Jinghai and what just happened in Haizu City, they can no longer care so much. After understanding the truth, these people couldn't help but share what they saw and heard with their relatives and friends. From the Meteorological Bureau to the Earthquake Bureau. This is true even for some authoritative departments. While public opinion was in an uproar, netizens from all over the Dragon Kingdom couldn't hold it any longer. After finding no results, they quickly turned their attention to Yanglin's social account. Soon the entire citizens of Haizu City knew what happened today. Especially those departments that are facing various problems. Besides, this time we only used the traditional Feng Shui theory of our Dragon Kingdom. That makes sense. If something really affects the lives and property of countless people, I believe the official will not care about other people's opinions. Let me tell you this, most of the things that are labeled as feudal superstition are because they are not effective. If they are really effective, see if anyone still calls them feudal superstition. At the same time, Yanglin himself, who was in Jinghai on the other side, had already discussed a preliminary plan with the Earthquake Bureau. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 285. In the police station, a map of the Dragon Kingdom was spread out on the huge desk. At this moment, Yanglin was drawing on the map with a pencil. Based on the data predicted by your Earthquake Bureau and Pendeo's calculations, we can basically know that earthquakes will occur in these cities in the next few days. The expected magnitude of the earthquake will be around magnitude 4 to 5. As he spoke, Yang Lin circled several cities with a pencil. Given that this is a chain of earthquakes, we need to reduce the impact of the earthquakes one by one. Pandeo's idea is to suppress them at the locations of the dragon veins in these cities. After hearing Yang Lin's words, everyone in the Seismological Bureau first looked at each other, and then said with a little doubt, "Did the suppression directly eliminate the earthquake?" Upon hearing this, Yang Lin immediately smiled and shook his head. "It's not that easy. Unless you directly cut off the dragon veins of the place, it is impossible to make the earthquake disappear out of thin air. And once the dragon vein is completely cut off, the impact on the entire city will probably be greater than that caused by the earthquake." "That's it? Then I dare to ask, sir, how to suppress these dragon veins?" "This is simple. If you want to suppress the dragon vein, you can build artificial structures on the key nodes of the dragon vein, such as electric towers, temples, statues, etc." As he spoke, Yang Lin pointed to a place on the map again. "For example, here, it is located between high mountains and ridges. The entire dragon vein has a clear direction, which allows the power department to build wind power generation devices all the way up the ridge. It can not only generate electricity and generate income, but also castrate the dragon veins of this place so that it does not dare to stand up easily. At the same time, it can also reduce the impact on the private sector. It can be said that it kills multiple birds with one stone." Another example is here. This is located in the main city. A sculpture of a famous person can be erected here to offset it. It can also have the effect of castrating the dragon's veins. After explaining several methods in succession, the leaders of the Seismological Bureau suddenly felt that their ideas were open. If the method Yang Lin told them was to use a big approach or something, although they would accept it, it would still be somewhat difficult. It can be replaced by the above methods, which will be much easier. It's nothing more than building some infrastructure, and it only costs a little money at most. Okay. Just do as Taoist Master Yang said. As for collaboration with other departments, I believe they will support it after they know our purpose of doing this." After some thought, Director Chin of the State Seismological Bureau immediately made a decision. After he finished speaking, he seemed to think of something again, and quickly looked at Yang Lin again. "Daozang Yang, did you just say that there will be another huge earthquake in our Dragon Kingdom in 50 days? I don't know how to resolve this huge earthquake." Hearing Director Chin's question, Yang Lin did not answer immediately this time. Half a minute later, under everyone's expectant gazes, Yang Lin suddenly showed an unpredictable expression. "Because this matter is of great importance, Pandeo cannot tell you for the time being. But don't worry, since Pandeo already knows about this, he will never sit idly by and ignore it." Such an answer once again made everyone in the Seismological Bureau look at each other. However, they did not continue to ask questions. After all, Yang Lin had done them a big favor this time. "I really want to thank Taoist Master Yang for what happened today. We will report this matter immediately after we return. I believe there will be a result soon." After thanking each other, everyone from the Earthquake Bureau hurriedly left the Zhangjiawan police station. Only Lu Ming and others were left looking at Yang Lin with admiration. Is it possible that these sudden buildings actually have some function that we don't know about? That is to say, it's the same here. On a beautiful cliff, someone suddenly used cement and steel to paste a huge and ugly real dragon statue. These changes were quickly noticed by netizens. I also find it strange that not only earthquakes, but all kinds of natural disasters are taking turns this year. In the face of everyone's temptation, Yang Lin remained silent. I would venture to guess that it may be related to the recent frequent earthquakes. Based on my experience of reading Feng Shui books for 2 days, these things are likely to play a role in changing Feng Shui. Teacher Yang, do you know what's going on? In some cities, large bronze swords tens of meters long were made overnight and placed on the central axis of the city. Can you believe it? We built a temple here in one afternoon, and a group of monks moved in not long after. Let me show you the big sword in our city. It was originally a big flower bed. The flower bed was demolished this afternoon, and then an ugly big sword was made and placed here. Not long after the meeting, some cities that predicted earthquakes began to take countermeasures. Just as netizens were gradually getting closer to the truth with their keen sense of smell, the person in charge of the Come On Workers program group suddenly informed Yang Lin and other artists of the news. What function? Is it possible that there is something special about it? A windmill was suddenly erected on our originally beautiful mountain. I watched it being pulled up by helicopter, and it was completed in less than a day. Is there anyone who really understands Feng Shui who can come out and talk about it? Some cities spent huge sums of money to borrow giant stone carvings from other cities. Some cities took engineering teams to the mountains on the same day and quickly built power towers and windmills on the ridges. A lot of cities are changing during this day. For example, the electric towers on the top of the mountain, I always feel like they are fixed nails, holding the mountain there. I'll go, is it so mysterious? Naturally, he couldn't tell everyone that the big head was still behind. Teacher Yang, you are so amazing. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a flood or an earthquake, we can handle it. These buildings were all built at the same time, and they were all built on some uninhabited mountains and on the central axis of the city. It's strange to say why there are so many earthquakes this year. Many of them were even made into videos and uploaded to the internet by netizens to make complaints about them. After learning that earthquakes would occur frequently in Longguo in the coming period, senior officials from the General Administration of Seismology also quickly held an emergency meeting. Seeing that Yang Lin had no intention of answering them, everyone stopped asking more questions and turned around to do their own things. Even the top of Wanjiao Mountain in Jinghai City has an ugly pavilion. What's the point of this? We're on such a deadline. It turns out that all other cities are like this, so I'm relieved. I thought it was just our place that was messing around. At the same time, the Seismological Bureau and others who had just left on the other side immediately reported the information obtained from Yang Lin to the Longguo Earthquake Administration. Family, who knows? When I woke up, a bunch of electric towers suddenly popped up on the mountain next to me. There weren't even ghosts on that mountain. Why would there be an electric tower there? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 286. In the hotel conference room, after more than a week, 7 artists, including Yang Lin, gathered together again. As the chief planner of the program, Yao Yuan also made a rare appearance again. Dear teachers, we have been going through the second phase for a long time, and you have all achieved certain results in your respective positions. So the program team decided that starting tomorrow, we will start a new round of challenges. In the next period of time, we will travel to different cities to experience the real life of workers in various cities. As soon as these words came out, expressions of surprise appeared on the faces of several artists except Yang Lin. What's going on? I've just adapted to the life of running a takeaway. Why are you suddenly asked to change cities? Yes, I have just accumulated the next batch of high-quality customers. If I wait for a while, I might become the regional sales leader. If I leave, what will happen to the kids in our class? It took me a lot of effort to memorize all the legal provisions, but now it's all in vain. Obviously Boss Yang and other artists have already become accustomed to the current work rhythm, and even more accustomed to life in Jinghai. Seeing everyone's expressions of reluctance, the chief planner Yao Yuan also continued to explain. In fact, the reason why the program team made such a decision was also taking into account the opinions of some fans. Fans hope to see more diverse career experiences and the employment environment in different cities. Although he said so much, everyone also understood Yao Yuan's deeper meaning. In other words, the show has now entered the grassroots stage, and if more tricks cannot be worked out, it may lose a large number of fans. This time we are going to Loteng City in Zhejiang province. Everyone, take a good rest today and pack your belongings. We will set off early tomorrow morning. After saying that, Yao Yuan quietly left the conference room without much explanation, leaving only a few artists who looked confused. But they soon adapted. For mature artists like them, traveling around the country has become commonplace. As for Yang Lin, it didn't matter. For him, who had already become a master of Yin Shen, going to any city in the Dragon Kingdom was just a thought. Just as Yang Lin and others started packing their luggage and preparing for tomorrow's itinerary, the program team also released the news on their official account that the program team would change the filming city. As soon as this news came out, the fan base was instantly in an uproar. Especially the local fans of Jinghai and the fans of Loteng. Less than an hour after the news was released, the comment area was immediately overwhelmed. What the hell? You took a good photo and left right away. I'm very angry from Jinghai, so I can't keep filming in Jinghai. If you dare to change the city to shoot, I will give you a 1-star negative review today. Woo-oh, my kunkin. The program crew can leave, please leave Wawa behind. That's right, leave Lu Tianxian behind. All the other celebrities are taken away, leaving Yang Lin behind. What will happen if Yang Lin is gone and the typhoon comes again? It doesn't matter. The construction of the shrine dedicated to Yang Lin has already begun. It will still be able to withstand the typhoon when the time comes. Suddenly I feel so reluctant to let go. Compared with the reluctance of the fans in Jinghai City, the fans in Loteng City were very excited. I've finally waited for this day. Finally, I don't have to go to Jinghai to see them. Is there anyone from out of town who wants to come see Kunkin? You don't have to stay in a hotel, you can stay at my house. Our family can also accommodate an out-of-town fan, who must be under 25 years old and female. Finally it's our turn. We don't know what kind of work they are going to do when they come to us this time. I've been looking forward to it all. In fact, in addition to the fans of Loteng City, there are also many official departments of Loteng City who are also happy. Especially the Meteorological Bureau and Water Conservancy Bureau. At this moment, in the Loteng City Meteorological Bureau office, all the leaders of the Loteng City Meteorological Bureau looked at the weather cloud map in front of them, their brows almost twisted into knots. Above the cloud map, I saw that the entire Loteng City and surrounding cities and counties were all orange-red. By that time, except for groundwater, all other surface water sources in the entire Loteng City will dry up. They even paid attention to Yang Lin because of this, and tried to contact Yang Lin with the mentality of giving it a try. If the drought is only in its preliminary stages, they can also use artificial rainfall to alleviate it. As he spoke, he took out the announcement from the program team and showed it to everyone present. Who are you talking about? Tomorrow morning, we will pick you up at the airport. What I want to see most now is the Dragon King. When they thought of this, the people present felt pain in their foreheads. But they still have no choice. What kind of good news is this? If they come to them, will it have any impact on us? Just when everyone in the office was silent, a young clerk suddenly ran in with excitement on his face. Which Yang Lin is it? Maybe he can really invite the Dragon Prince here. Who else could it be? Yang Lin, the one from Jinghai. When they saw that Yang Lin was coming to Loteng City with the program team to film the program, a bright light immediately flashed in their eyes. Perhaps after hearing the name Yang Lin, everyone who was originally listless instantly became energetic. They had just watched what happened in Haizhu City online. But based on the current situation, let alone artificial rainfall, even if you poke a hole in the sky, not a single drop of rain will fall. If you said it was the rain god who came to hold a concert here, I might be happy. Thinking of the recent viral story about Yang Lin on the internet, a glimmer of hope arose in the hearts of everyone at the Meteorological Bureau. Among them, the location of Luteng City is even more dark red. But at this moment, the young clerk continued. This has not happened in the past 50 years. That's right, chasing stars is a matter for you young people, and it has nothing to do with us old guys. Yang Lin is a professional in this field. They made their decision immediately. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the office immediately looked over. Why, it doesn't matter. Taoist priest Yang Lin will also come with them this time. Director, good news, the crew of the Come On Workers program is coming to our place to film. It was completely unexpected that Yang Lin would come to Luteng in person. As they spoke, everyone couldn't help but shake their heads. The problems caused by the drought were almost exhausting them mentally and physically. This also means that the drought in Luteng City has reached an extreme drought level. Since scientific methods cannot alleviate the drought of green vines, they can only place their hope in metaphysics. More importantly, according to meteorological satellite monitoring, the drought will continue for at least another half-month. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 287. Luteng International Airport is not conspicuous among the airports in Longguo. On the one hand, it is because of its relatively remote geographical location, and on the other hand, the socio-economic situation of Luteng City itself is very inconspicuous among the central cities. The average daily throughput is less than 100,000 people. However, this morning Luteng City Airport became extremely busy, and people holding signs could be seen everywhere inside and outside. There are even more passengers than there are passengers in the airport. Judging from the eager expressions of these people, they seem to be waiting for someone. Kunkan, why haven't they come yet? Yes, after I found out that Kunkan was coming to Luteng yesterday, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep all night long. Me too, I took a taxi and went straight to the airport as soon as it dawned. Really been waiting. As they spoke, the group of people raised their signs high. Kunkan's support poster was clearly posted on the sign. The identity of this group of people is also self-evident. In addition to this group of Kunkan fans, less than 100 meters away from them, a group of fans holding flowers and other words were also waiting eagerly. There were nearly 1,000 people in these two groups alone. And beside them there are fan groups of several other celebrities, including fans of Boss Yang, fans of Lu Tianxian, fans of Reba, and fans of Xiao Yuiyu. Although the number of these fan groups is not as large as that of Kunkan and Huahua, the total number is still quite large. If you include the media reporters holding filming equipment on the side, the number of people present directly reached a terrifying more than 3,000 people. The purpose of these people appearing here at this moment is basically the same. That's waiting for several artists from the Come On Workers program to appear. After they had waited for almost several hours, the arrival hall of the airport suddenly became lively. The next second, a group of familiar staff walked out of the aisle with large and small bags. After seeing these people, the scene instantly became lively. Especially the fans from all over the world were eager to jump on it immediately. Kunkan, I love you. Huahua, look here, I'm here. Cheers and screams quickly filled the hall, attracting the attention of countless passengers. Fortunately, the airport security personnel controlled the scene in advance, otherwise the scene would have been a mess. After finally bringing the situation under control, before the security personnel had time to breathe a sigh of relief, a tall man wearing a black mask and a black peaked cap walked out of the passage pushing a huge suitcase. There were several staff members beside him. As soon as the man appeared, the group of fans seemed to have been injected with blood, and even the security personnel could hardly stop him. After a while, the Kung Fu man had a bunch of gifts from fans in his hand. This enthusiasm lasted until he got into the commercial car outside and finally ended. After him, another man who was very fashionably dressed came out soon. Compared to the secretive man in the mask in front, he seemed much more confident and generous. And he is Wawa, who just flew over from Jinghai. After a cordial interaction with the fans, Wawa got into the business car at the door just like Kunkin before. The appearance of the two people once again ignited the atmosphere at the scene. When Boss Yang appeared later, they were all warmly welcomed by fans without exception. They themselves were not surprised at all. After all, considering their status in the industry and fan base, these are just small scenes. The only person who was slightly different from them was Yang Lin walking behind them. Several other artists have big packages and small packages, and they are also accompanied by their managers. Yang Lin was alone, not even a salute. All he carried was a Taoist robe, and even the sword behind his back was nowhere to be found at this moment. It is precisely this that makes him stand out from the crowd. Many tourists who were watching also recognized him at a glance. I almost forgot that Yang Lin is also coming to our Luteng this time. Yeah, walking with Boss Yang and the others, he doesn't feel like a star. He was never a star, but now he is a living god. Wait a minute, no fans of Yang Lin came to pick him up today. How is it possible? He has no one to run a fan group for him, and no agency to arrange pickup activities for him. That's right. Each of these celebrities is very fancy. Who knows if these fans come spontaneously or if someone spends money to organize it. Yang Lin is more down to earth. Just by going to that station, you can feel the difference between him and others. Just as the passengers were talking about it, there was a sudden movement outside the arrivals hall. Everyone thought that another fan came to pick him up. But they soon realized that wasn't the case. Because what appeared outside the arrivals hall at this moment clearly did not fit the appearance of a celebrity fan. I saw that these people were all wearing shirts, some were white and some were blue. Many people even had badges on their shirts. Not only in terms of clothing, these people are also much older than the celebrity fans, and all of them are at least 30 years old. There was no hint of childishness on his face, but instead he had a majesty that was unlike ordinary people. Anyone with a discerning eye can tell at a glance that they are not ordinary people. When this group of people arrived in the arrival hall, everyone's eyes immediately focused on them. Even the fans of various celebrities unconsciously made way for them. Just when everyone thought it was over, another group of people soon arrived outside the hall. Unlike the previous group who were wearing shirts, the group coming behind were all wearing uniforms. Some were wearing police uniforms, some were wearing court uniforms, and some were wearing firefighting uniforms. Including the previous wave, there were nearly 100 people. But the momentum of more than 100 people standing together completely overwhelmed all the fans. Soon people recognized their identities one after another. I'll go. Isn't the guy with glasses over there the director of the city hospital, DRHU? I seem to have seen the guy next to him on the news in our city. He seems to be the mayor's secretary. Yes, I remember him too. That one must be District Chief Song of Bama District. Isn't that Captain Lee of the criminal police team? Good guy. That area over there belongs to the Meteorological Bureau. Why are the firemen here too? With such a big battle, they wouldn't be here to inspect the work, right? Or is there a big leader coming? Just when everyone was speculating, the relevant leaders of the airport also rushed over. After seeing the group of people at the scene, a cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. But what happened next was completely beyond their expectations. This group of big shots in their eyes only glanced around the arrivals hall before setting their sights on one person. Then they took the initiative to welcome him with smiles on their faces. The kind attitude is far beyond those of the fans of the previous celebrities. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 288. In the arrival hall, as the group of big guys from all walks of life in Luteng City took the initiative to step forward, the passengers and fans who were still eating melons suddenly realized something. Wait a minute, are they here to pick up Yang Lin? I'm sorry, who said just now that Yang Lin has no fans to pick him up at the airport? You call these fans? What is this? All these official departments came to pick up Yang Lin. 666, I suddenly remembered that the day before yesterday, every official department in various places seemed to be paying attention to Yang Lin. What is the card face? This is the card face. This is a real card and cannot be refuted. Other people's fans compete for quantity, while Yang Lin's fans compete for quality. Just as everyone had guessed, the leaders of the various departments of Greenvine quickly walked towards Yang Lin as soon as they discovered him. Even before everyone in the program team could react, these big guys came in front of Yang Lin. Hello, Mr. Yang, I am Ma Dongsheng, secretary to the mayor of Luteng City. Welcome to our Luteng City. Daozang Yang, I am Hole, director of the Luteng City Earthquake Bureau. Welcome to Luteng. Daozang Yang, I am Li Ji, the head of Luteng City Meteorological Bureau. Welcome to Luteng. Daozang Yang, I am Li Wenming, captain of the Criminal Investigation Detachment of Luteng City Public Security Bureau. As this group of people revealed their identities one after another, Yang Lin didn't think there was any problem. But the program team and boss Yang on the side were dumbfounded on the spot. What kind of welcoming team is this? Most of the entire leadership team of Luteng are here. From the mayor's office to the Public Security Bureau, from the Meteorological Bureau to the Earthquake Bureau. Some characters that you might not even come into contact with on weekdays all appeared here in a swarm. And the reason why they appeared here was just to say hello to Yang Lin. How could they accept such a magical thing? But whether they accept it or not, things have already happened. Before they could react, the young man who claimed to be the mayor's secretary said to Yang Lin respectfully. Daozang Yang, I don't know if you have any plans today. If you don't have any plans, could you please come to our office building in Luteng City and sit for a while? Yang Lin didn't seem surprised when he heard Ma Dongshen's words, and nodded soon after. After seeing Yang Lin nod, the leaders from various departments in Luteng City immediately breathed a long sigh of relief. They were also afraid that Yang Lin would not agree to their invitation. While they were waiting for Yang Lin to get on the bus, Yang Lin himself said hello to the chief planner Yao Yuan. 5 minutes later, Yang Lin got into the black car with the Veng 00001 license plate and drove away amid the dull gazes of everyone at the airport. When he got out of the car again, the car had already driven into a compound. Under Ma Dongshen's guidance, Yang Lin and the leaders of various departments of Greenvine quickly arrived at a huge conference room. Before they arrived, several senior leaders were already sitting in the conference room. Tao Zhongyang, I took the liberty of inviting you here this time, partly to fulfill our friendship as landlords. On the other hand, we also have a huge problem that we need your help with. As soon as Yang Lin sat down, the middle-aged man sitting on the main seat in the conference room with the word mayor in front of him spoke first. And he is Gong Baichen, the top leader of Luteng City. As soon as Gong Baichen finished speaking, Li Ji, the head of the Jinghai Meteorological Bureau, walked straight to the stage. At the same time, a PPT prepared in advance was also displayed on the big screen in front of the conference room. Daozang Yang, we won't hide it from you anymore. You might have noticed it when you came along the way. We haven't had a drop of rain in Greenvine for half a month. Of course, this kind of situation has happened in previous years. But this year we encountered high temperatures again, which also led to a severe drought in our greenvines that is rare in 50 years. While talking, Li Ji opened several pictures. The pictures show the river water level and reservoir water level in Luteng City respectively. As well as farmland irrigation, domestic drinking water, etc. It can be clearly seen from these pictures that the situation in the entire Luteng city is no longer optimistic. 80% of the rivers have completely dried up. More than 70% of the reservoirs can no longer discharge water. Huge cracks appeared in large tracts of farmland. Even domestic water has become a big problem, and many communities can only rely on fire trucks to deliver water. Not to mention water used for industry and agriculture. If this continues, the entire green vines food crops will fail. Factory production would also come to a standstill. Mentioning this, the heads of various departments present were all frowning. And that's exactly why they came together. Daozang Yang, this is the situation. According to the forecast of our meteorological bureau, there will not be a drop of rain in Luteng City for at least the next month. I really don't know if our Luteng City can survive until a month later. At this point, Li Ji couldn't bear it anymore and sighed. On the other hand, Yang Lin's expression remained the same after listening to his story, and he didn't seem surprised at all. It was his calm look that made everyone present couldn't help but feel excited. Seeing that the atmosphere fell into silence, Li Ji couldn't help but test it out after some hesitation. Daozang Yang, we really have no choice. We have fired hundreds of artillery shells in the sky in a week without even a drop of rain falling. I wonder if you have any good ideas. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes immediately focused on Yang Lin. I don't know how much time passed, but Yang Lin finally said slowly. If it's an ordinary drought, Pandeo can pray for rain with just one ritual. But this drought in your green vine is not an ordinary drought, and it may be difficult to solve. As soon as he finished speaking, the expressions of everyone present changed immediately. Anyone present is not a master of language arts. How could they not understand such words? It is more difficult to solve it, but it becomes another story in their ears. That can be solved. Realizing this, the faces of everyone present suddenly showed joy. They invited Yang Lin this time to take a huge risk of public opinion. If someone posted it on the internet and spread the rhythm, they would not get any good results. But in order to solve the drought problem of green vines, they also chose to go all out. And Yang Lin's last words undoubtedly gave them hope. Taoist Master Yang, just tell me how you can ask for rain and how we need to cooperate. Yes, yes, as long as it rains and the drought in the green vines is resolved, we will fully cooperate. Are you going to hold a puja or something? Faced with everyone's questioning, Yang Lin immediately expressed his thoughts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 289. The severity of this drought is no longer an ordinary drought, so ordinary methods of asking for rain will naturally not work. And this time it's not just your green vine area that's affected by the disaster. The surrounding cities are also suffering from varying degrees of drought. According to Pandeo's estimation, this process will continue for at least a month. In the office, as Yang Lin spoke, everyone immediately pricked up their ears to listen. So not only are we asking for rain, but we are also asking for water. Borrow water. Upon hearing these two words, everyone in the conference room instantly became confused. Taoist Yang, where can we borrow water? We can't just borrow water from the north and bring it to the south. The journey in between is too long. There must be a shortage of water in the north now. Yes, let's not talk about the cost. It is not that difficult to implement. There are no nearby cities that can lend us water. In the face of everyone's doubts, Yang Lin remained calm. After looking around for a week, he finally fixed his sights on Zhang Ji, the head of the Meteorological Bureau. Director Zhang, Pandeo calculated a few days ago that there will be widespread heavy rainfall in the north in the next few days. You should also know this news. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes focused on Zhangji. Zhangji himself nodded after reacting for a while. There is such a thing. According to the forecast of the General Meteorological Administration, there will be heavy rains in the northern part of Longguo in the next week. The General Meteorological Administration has issued a flood warning. After saying that, he let out a long sigh. Hey, it's really a drought and a flood. If only half of the heavy rain in the north could be diverted to our side, our drought would be solved. But soon he felt that what he said was a bit funny. No one can control whether it rains, how much it rains, and where it rains. If we could control it, there wouldn't be so many natural disasters. But in the next second, he seemed to suddenly think of something, and quickly looked at Yang Lin in disbelief. You, Daozang Yang, didn't borrow water just because you wanted to share the heavy rain in the north with us. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the entire conference room was stunned for an instant, and then all looked at Yang Lin. Obviously they were also shocked by Li Ji's conjecture. How is this possible? Lend the rainwater from the north to us. Then this has become the North-South Water Diversion Project. This is no less difficult than cutting off Mount Everest and throwing it into the Pacific Ocean. But don't tell me yet, if it can really be done, it will really be a good thing that has the best of both worlds. Indeed, it not only alleviates the flood disaster in the north, but also solves the drought here. But can this be done? Obviously, everyone is still beating the drum at this moment. Until Yang Lin spoke again. Director Li is right. This is Pandeo's idea, to borrow the rainwater from the north to the south. Of course, besides this method, there is another way. What way? Everyone was curious again. The second method is to have another typhoon. In this way, the typhoon can bring a lot of water vapor from the sea, and the difficulty of finding rain can be reduced a lot. For a moment, everyone in the office couldn't tell whether Yang Lin was joking or serious. I have seen people keep away typhoons, but I have never seen people actively provoke typhoons. When they thought about the damage that the typhoon would cause, everyone present immediately shook their heads. After all, they can't sacrifice other cities for their own city. After a long silence, Gong Baichen, the top leader of Luteng City, said hesitantly. Tao Zhongyang, why don't we use the first method? Although he also knew how outrageous the first method was, there seemed to be no better method at the moment. As Gong Baichen spoke, the others present did not speak anymore. In that case, let me tell you how to pray for rain and borrow water. Even Gong Baichen's eyes lit up. Besides, how should we report it to the police? We can't just ask for rain. 60,000 people is the minimum requirement. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was in a state of enlightenment. Didn't a star come to our place for a concert some time ago? It seemed that more than 70,000 people came. The last time he turned a typhoon around was due to the two dragon veins in Jinghai. Tao Zhongyang, can we reduce the number of people? It's difficult to get approval if there are too many people. Not only does it need to go through layers of approval, but it also requires coordination among multiple departments. Although there are very few people nowadays who insist on feudal superstition, it will be difficult to say once the number of people exceeds 10,000. It's not a good idea to say Qiu, but if it were a celebrity concert, with more than 60,000 people at a concert, it wouldn't be a big problem. Of course, the most important problem is the appearance. Actually, it's not impossible. We just need to change our approach. Maybe all of them will be implicated. But when they heard the last condition, their faces showed embarrassment. When tens of thousands of people gather together, it's a big event. Then it's settled, let's announce to the outside world that Dao Kengyang is holding a concert, and he will hold a stage at the concert. Gong Baichen, who was already looking helpless, suddenly felt more headache after hearing the word 60,000. Tens of thousands of people prayed to God for rain together. This would not cause a sensation across the country. The three forces of heaven, earth, and man are indispensable. If there are less people, the final effect may be much worse. As he spoke, Yang Lin stated all his requirements, including what he needed. Following Gong Baichen's words, all the leaders present couldn't help but look at each other in shock. He spoke out without reservation what kind of cooperation was needed from Luteng officials, as well as the related staffing. First of all, poor Taoists need to set up a large altar to worship God and pray for rain. This is the will of heaven. Secondly, Pandeo needs you to place stone dragon carvings in the rivers and lakes in Luteng city. This is the terrain. Only with the help of the power of heaven, earth, and man, and with the Taoist teachings of Pandeo, can the clouds and rain in the north be transferred to the south. And this time, if you want to second the rainwater thousands of miles away to the south, you will undoubtedly need to borrow more momentum. There is no big problem in holding a rain praying ceremony or something like that on a small scale. Is it really okay to use a concert to cover up the rain prayer ceremony? After all, it is not too difficult for them to do this. In the end, Pandeo still needs tens of thousands of people to sincerely pray for blessings at the same time. This is the strength of the people. When they heard the first two conditions, no one present had much reaction. At this moment, the director of Luteng City Culture and Tourism Bureau, who had never spoken before, suddenly spoke. Okay. This is good. Taoist priest Yang happens to be an artist too, so it seems very reasonable to hold a concert. But as soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin shook his head. After some hesitation, Gong Baichen finally said with a wry smile. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 290. By the time Yang Lin left the conference room, nearly 2 hours had passed. In these 2 hours, the subsequent rain request plan was basically decided. Luteng city officials are responsible for the construction of stone dragon sculptures at various water sources. They are also responsible for the preliminary preparations for the concert. What Yang Lin needs to do is to open a forum. Due to the urgency of the matter, the time was directly set for 3 days. Half an hour later, when Yang Lin showed up again, he was already in the Luteng International Hotel in the center of Luteng. He didn't even need to book a room himself, someone had already booked the best suite for him. As for why we chose this hotel, it's because all members of the program team are in the hotel at the moment. The moment Yang Lin walked into the hotel, everyone including Boss Yang spotted him. Hey, Yang Lin is back. It's really him. By the way, what did the leaders of Luteng City do when they asked him to leave just now? Needless to say, I must have asked him for help. This card. Just as everyone was sighing with emotion, Yao Yuan, the chief planner who saw Yang Lin returning to the team, quickly announced what they needed to do at this stage. Starting today, our new issue of content officially begins. I believe that after the previous 2 rounds of accumulation, everyone already has some funds on hand. So our task at this stage is to start a business. Everyone needs to start their own company in the shortest possible time and be their own boss. As soon as these words came out, looks of surprise appeared on the faces of several people except Yang Lin. Starting a company? Seriously? That is to say, we have never done this kind of thing. Working doesn't necessarily make you money, but you certainly won't lose money. But starting your own company is different. You might lose all the money you made before. That's for sure. The risk of starting a business is the greatest. The second generation of rich people don't dare to start a business easily. Well, I only have 10 or 20,000 yuan on hand so far. What kind of company can I open? How about I continue to deliver food? I really don't have any ideas for starting a business. How about opening a restaurant? I think I can open a training institution and just need to recruit a few teachers. Suddenly, several artists also showed their subjective initiative. At this moment, Boss Yang suddenly asked Yang Lin on the side. Yang Lin, you have the most funds in your hands. If you were asked to start a business, what would you choose to do? After hearing Boss Yang's words, everyone couldn't help but look at Yang Lin. As Yang Lin, who made the most money in the previous two stages, the funds in hand at this moment are conservatively estimated to be at least several hundred million. With such abundant funds, starting a business is nothing more than a joke to him. However, Yang Lin himself hesitated after hearing this question. Starting a business, he really didn't know what to do. In the past, you could make money directly by pulling a piece of cloth and setting up a stall, but when it comes to starting a company, it's completely different. Just when he was hesitating, Rebo beside him suddenly interrupted. Why don't you open a consulting company, where you can consult on anything? Huh? Is there such a company? Yes. When the time comes, you can just find an office space and wait for others to come to your door. Listening to Reba's words, Yang Lin just thought about it and nodded. Anyway, he doesn't care whether he makes money or not, he just wants a stable channel to harvest karma. He made his decision immediately. At the same time, several other artists have almost decided what kind of company they want to start. Okay, now that everyone has decided, you can go through a series of procedures before establishing a company according to the general company registration process. In order to strive for authenticity, this process will also be presented to the audience. With Yao Yuan's words, the recording of the third season of Come On Workers has officially begun. Boss Yang and others immediately got busy following the company registration process they found online. Only Yang Lin calmly led the people who were following him to the center of Luteng City. Teacher Yang, what are we doing? Shouldn't we register with the Industrial and Commercial Bureau first? Yes, it takes several days to complete the normal process. Even if our program team has said hello, it will still take 1 to 2 days. Looking at Yang Lin, who looked unhurried, several members of the program team couldn't help but ask. But Yang Lin smiled mysteriously. Don't worry, I just called and it will be done soon. Now all we have to do is find a suitable office location. I think that office building over there is pretty good. As he spoke, Yang Lin pointed at a high-rise building less than 100 meters away from him. Following the direction he pointed, the eyes of several members of the program team suddenly widened. From their perspective, this high-rise building looks awesome. After careful inspection, they discovered that this office building called Green Vine Building was even more impressive than they imagined. Not only is it the most expensive office building in the entire Green Vineyard, but the rental price is also ridiculously expensive. The monthly rent per square meter is as high as 2,000 yuan. At this price, you can almost rent an entire house. Generally, only mature and large companies will choose to work here. After the shock, several people quickly tried to persuade him. Teacher Yang, why don't we change places? The rent here is really too expensive. If you rent a place of 100 square meters, the monthly rent will be 200,000. Yes, there is no need to choose such an expensive location. The rent for a place next to it is less than 200 yuan per square meter per month. The province should spend its money. We must spend money on the edge of the knife, not on the handle. But at this moment, Yang Lin had obviously made up his mind. After a few people's persuasion for a long time, he still walked towards Luteng Building. Everyone outside has already felt the high end of this Green Vine Building. When they walked inside, they discovered that the decoration inside was even more luxurious than they had imagined, even more luxurious than the lobbies of most five-star hotels. As soon as he entered, a young girl in professional attire at the front desk noticed Yang Lin. He seemed to have recognized Yang Lin's identity, his eyes filled with disbelief. After being stunned for a long time, She covered her mouth and came to Yang Lin. "Hello, teacher Yang, who are you looking for?" Hearing what the girl said, Yang Lin said his purpose without thinking. When the lady at the front desk found out that Yang Lin was going to rent their office space, the expression of surprise on her face became even more intense. "Wait a moment, I'll call our manager right now." After saying that, she ran all the way to make a phone call. More than 10 minutes later, a well-dressed middle-aged man with half-white hair came to Yang Lin surrounded by a group of people. As soon as they met, his face showed a very excited expression. There is no doubt that he also knows Yang Lin.